Peace and bright blessings, guys. It's your Queen of Spades coming at you today. I hope my royals are doing well. I have a lot on my mind. I went, to a spot where my husband was DJing last night, and I've become quite a regular, the last few times he's gone. And, seemed very peaceful, very mellow setting, very fun and interesting, experience. For me, I never really experienced going to clubs and stuff when I was, a teenager. As you guys know, my parents were, very religious. And that's the upbringing I had, So I didn't go to clubs. Wasn't allowed to, so I'm like living out my wishes to want to go in the here and now. With my husband being a DJ, I always wanted to see like what it was like, inside of a club, what the environment, the atmosphere was like. So as you guys see, I'm a little scatterbrained today because I actually just finished performing a spirit funeral. Just finished performing a spirit funeral. And I actually offer those services on my store, on my site. And, basically it's, helping spirits that are earthbound to be able to, cross over into the spirit realm. Some get stuck, or lost after, the person physically passes away. Some grieve, for a very long time. Where they're kind of grieving, their family, and not being able to, that was my son, not being able to, handle last minute finished business, and sometimes when spirits die suddenly, they're unsettled, they're uneasy, so they can't seem to be able to find the peace to be able to cross over. And so some of them miss their, the portal, the opening, the opportunity to be able to, cross over into the spirit realm. And as a result, they end up kind of finding their way to, someone like myself, for the most part, who, as a psychic medium, I'm able to feel them intensely. Um, feel some of their worries, feel some of their thoughts, just feel them, feel their energy, um, feel what they're thinking about and what they're experiencing at that moment in time. Sometimes I incur aches and pains, before helping them to, cross over into the spirit realm. It kind of lets me know to an extent that, there's a spirit in my presence that's not settled and they're desirous of, crossing over. So they usually find their way to me. I was talking to an oracle friend of mine, and she was saying that sometimes even if someone passes and their loved one may know me, or something to that extent, they'll find a way to find me. If you're in an area, you're in a building, or a store, a restaurant, wherever, and there are spirits kind of roaming around, and they will see your light and they will follow you home. And so they in most cases seek to be relieved of being having like this earthly attachment. They want to be relieved of that, and they want to be crossed over into the spirit realm. So in most cases, they already know when they find somebody like me, that I will help them to cross over. That's very interesting to me because, basically sometimes they'll seek you out when they're ready to, cross over into the spirit realm, which we know, around times of the year like Halloween, right after Halloween, right before Halloween also, the veil is very thin, and your loved ones come back, and sometimes they may visit with you. They want to check on you and see how you're doing. So I'm feeling like very heavy, a little bit, but it's lightening up little by little. It was worse earlier, before I actually did the spirit funeral. I felt like very tired, very unsettled, very like not like nervous like energy, a lot of sadness, different emotions all at once. And so I was gonna wait till later tonight to do the spirit funeral, but it's almost like the spirit was urgent to just go on ahead and get it over with and get to the other side. Like they just didn't want to be here anymore. um you know um and they kind of like give me access to like how they're feeling at that moment, and sometimes they give me access to thoughts. Sometimes my thoughts are very clouded and I can't really think straight. I can't concentrate. um So it's quite the experience, to say the least. But what happened was I went to, a club event with my husband, and towards the end of the night, about like a half an hour before it closed, this huge fight in the very back of the club, like way far away from us. We didn't even know what was going on. This huge fight broke out. Someone actually recorded the fight on the camera phone, on their camera phone, and it was pretty bad. It was, pretty brutal and pretty intentional. Um, Lots of, I mean, it was really bad. Um, so it's not like I haven't seen fights before, but what ended up happening was, security was called um, to the back of the club, where the fight took place. And, both individuals were kind of like kicked out of the club and, you know, put, outside of the club. And at that point, um, when they were put out, someone went to their car, got a gun, and shot the other person, and the person, died. Um, and it's not a shocker to most people who go to clubs or go clubbing, but I'm not a regular, so that, like, I just feel it probably a little bit more deeply than others. It feels very traumatic, and I don't really even know how to describe my feelings, like what I'm feeling totally and completely, but I feel very emotional and sad, and um, because, I could feel the person, and it's not just that situation, it's the whole of the situation. Like, at some point, either right before the fight took place or maybe right after, um, maybe this person dropped their belongings or whatever the case may be. And, or, I feel like maybe there was some sabotage involved. Maybe, someone took that person's phone to keep them from being able to, reach out to, their friends and family. According to, well, while either right before or while this was taking place, someone brought me a phone. Actually, they were bringing it to my husband. Lots of people bring, phones to be charged. Sometimes people will bring lost belongings to the DJ, and the DJ announces, there's this lost item, come to the DJ booth to pick it up if it's yours. And this guy handed us a phone, but he didn't really say what he wanted to happen with the phone. He didn't really say if he wanted it charged. He didn't really say if it was lost. He didn't really say anything. He just handed us a phone. And then there was a girl that was in like a kind of like a VIP section that was behind him. She saw him, hand us the phone, and she's like, "Give them this too." And it was like a cap, like a baseball cap. And so he handed that to us as well. And sometime at the end of the night, once we find out that there's been this huge fight and also shooting, all these cop cars show up. Whereas initially there were two police cars because they're paid to, you know, work for the, the club. Um, by the end of the night, there were over 20 cars there. And there was a section of the parking lot that was kind of like taped off with crime scene tape. And we find out that this person's been shot and possibly killed. Um, the thing about it is, the phone that we had at the end of the night, once the club owners were like, okay, everybody's got to go, you know, they were very persistent. They're like, everybody needs to go. We're only going to ask nicely once. They wasn't playing with nobody. They was telling people to leave. And people started forming in a single file line, to get out. And it's like right before the club, maybe like 30 minutes before the club usually closes anyway. And all of a sudden, my husband, he's packing up his things. And all of a sudden, this phone starts ringing. And so my husband answers it. And he's like, the person is asking for, someone specifically. And he's like, I don't know where that person is. Everybody's been ushered out of the club because there was a fight. And someone handed this phone to us. We thought it was to charge it, or maybe the person left it by accident. So the woman's like, okay, well, I'm just looking for my husband. I'm his wife. And so my husband's like, okay, well, I don't know who your husband is. If someone wants to come up here and get the phone, they can. Or, it'll be left with the club staff, and you can pick it up from them if you want to. So, the wife hangs up. A few minutes later, she calls back again. Is my husband there now? And my husband's like, I don't know who your husband is. I just have the phone, but you're more than welcome to come and pick it up or send someone to get it if you want. He can come back to get it if he wants to. And so she's like, okay. She asked for a specific bartender's name. My husband's like, I don't know who that is. But I'm going to give the phone to, the club staff. And, at some point, if you want to, you can come and pick it up. It'll be here, waiting for you. So she's like, okay, you're going to give it to the club staff now? So my husband's like, yes, we're going to hand it over to them right now. So she's like, okay, I'll call back in a few minutes then. So then we're packing up, helping my husband get his things gathered, and another call comes through, and it's a guy this time. And my husband's like, he's like, hello. He's like, this is not my phone. I have this phone because someone gave me this phone. And I don't know who the person is that this phone belongs to. So the person is a guy, and he's like, hey man, why do you have my brother's phone? And he was shot. And I'm like, oh shit. Um, I mean, you know, it's just crazy. Um, and so my husband's like, well, I don't know who your brother is. I don't even know whose phone this is. It was given to me. I'm the DJ, here. And someone gave me this phone. And I thought they gave it to me to charge. So, like other people do. So that's what I was doing. Before he could finish talking, the guy hung up. So I was like, please do not answer any more calls on this phone. Okay? Just give me the phone and let me go ahead and take it to the staff and management. So my husband's like, okay. He gives me the phone. I take it, he tells me to take it to the bartending section. Because they usually keep things after, the club is closing down. They take everything and they give it to, the management. So I'm giving the woman the phone, and I was like, someone left this. And she's like, okay. I was like, I think this may be the phone of the person who was shot. So she's like, well, just answer it and, tell them what happened. And I'm like, we did answer. We told them, we don't know whose phone it is and where the person is. And that was before we knew that it belonged to the person who got shot. So the bartender's like, I was saying, then the person's brother called, and I told her what he said, and she's like, well, just tell him, what happened. And I'm like, listen, just take this damn phone, like, because at this point, I don't even feel comfortable, like, being responsible for it. I don't feel comfortable holding on to this any longer. We're packing up, we're about to leave. So, I couldn't understand why she wouldn't take the phone. Like, just do your job, take the damn phone. And she's like, you know what happened? And I'm like, no, not really. And she's like, two guys, they're actually friends. She's like, they were friends, and the other person happened to be another bartender's boyfriend, and they ended up getting into a very big argument, and they ended up becoming physical with each other. And she's like, at some point the guards, the security came and ushered them both kind of outside of the club. And she's like, I think that it was done improperly. If they were going to let them out, then they should have let the aggressor out first. Let one person go on first and then let the other one out. So she's like, they let them both out at the same time. And in my opinion, they should have let them both out at the same time. And I was like, right, I agree. And she was like, so one person went to their car after they let them outside, grabbed this gun, came back and shot the other person, and then turned himself into the police. And like it just feels very, very heavy. I'm trying to deal, you know, with it as a sensitive. I feel it deeply, and I don't know what to do with the feelings. The only thing I can do is, cleanse myself, take a spiritual bath. But I told her, I said, that was irresponsible to an extent. And as a result, a life was lost for no reason. Something very, very small. Like, who knows what they were arguing about? And you come to the club with your friend, and now all of a sudden you're at odds, and like you don't know to have a limit on how far you go. Like it goes to the extent of you shooting and killing your friend. Like, what kind of world do we live in? Like, for real. You know, it's disheartening. It really is. This boy was 27 years old, and his life was snatched. And I think that I had his phone. And energy doesn't die. It just transmutes, it transforms, but it never dies. So I feel as though because I had his phone, there was an energetic connection naturally. And at some point, I was, walking with my husband out the club. He was carrying a lot of his stuff. He still had to come back for more stuff. And he didn't want to pull up to the front of the club because there's like hella police cars, you know. So he's like, just sit here, right here on this bench, and I'll be right back for you. I'm sitting there, and I didn't feel alone. I felt like someone or something was there, and I kept like looking behind me. Naturally, no one physical was there. At some point, I got in the car and I smoked a cigarette. Um, everything was just very heavy right at that moment. And whew, I just think that he followed me home. The spirit of the boy whose life was lost. And, you know, um, I think he followed me home because he was ready to cross over. And I did divination, and, that's what Spirit said, that, he was ready to cross over into the spirit realm, and that's why he followed me home. And so today I did a spirit funeral for him. But leading up to that, I felt like just sickly. I felt very heavy. I felt very emotional, like lots of different emotions at one time. And, you know, um, I did help him to cross over and find peace. And that makes me feel a little better. But the fact still remains, like, everything that happened, the fight, the guards rushing to the back, the phone that was handed to us, the phone calls, all of it weighs on me. And I know I'm gonna have to release it in order to be able to move forward, because you know I did divination. He has crossed over now, so may he be able to rest in power. But this man had a wife. Like, this man had a wife. He had a family. Things like that. It just doesn't sit well with me. You know, it's really sad if you think about it, because I mean, no one goes to the club expecting for their life to be snuffed from them, you know. And it's really heavy on me. I feel sorry for him, but I'm happy that he has found peace and has crossed over. um I just had to release this because, like, I had to talk about it. Like, during the ceremony, I told him, I don't know you, but you're a man, you're a human being, just like I'm a woman, I'm a human being. You didn't deserve to get your life snatched at such a young age, but everything happens for a reason, and the divine has plans for us while we're making other plans. But on a much lighter note, I did help him to cross over. I asked, my spirit guides, my guardian angels, my enlightened ancestors to, actually assist him in making sure that he, gets to the spirit realm safely. In which I did do divination, and they actually did show up to usher him into the spirit realm. So I'm happy for that. I hope his family is able to eventually find peace and move on from this. I'm gonna get off now. But I'm happy to do the work that I do, because at the end of the day, it is about spirit work and being able to help spirits to find peace. Like I said before, as a psychic medium, you can't shut this off. You can't decide when you want it and when you don't, and so the best thing to do is to make peace with it and, understand your gift. If any of you out there have some of the similar gifts and talents, like I do spiritually, then you understand exactly what I'm talking about. And yeah, so I do feel lighter, actually, after talking about it. Maybe that's what I needed to do. Um, but he did cross over, and he is happy that he was able to cross over. I hope that his family finds peace. And, if there's anyone out there who, has relatives or, maybe loved ones that have just physically passed, and you need spirit work or help with helping them to cross over into the spirit realm, I'll be more than happy to assist you. Just go and purchase the Spirit Funeral on my store site, and we'll make an appointment to, get that done for you. I'm sorry that this was not a happier video, but life happens in real time. you know. So, you know, I don't really know what else to say, so I'm gonna end this here. And I hope you guys stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace and bright blessings.